This is my
What's the
passport
eyeball?
face
Right.
from last week.
Heavily implied.
Yeah. International criminal.
Death by American woman.
I should have looked more suspicious. Like, oh yeah? Catch me if you can style? Mm-hmm. At least that would have been funny. Did you see my post on Facebook? Oh.
I saw it.
That got a lot of play. I'm like, maybe I should post
a
a bad picture of myself once a week. It wouldn't be
It was
hard.
just so relatable because we all have just shit pictures, right?
Yeah.
This says we've been on for 7 minutes. No, it's back. It's 12 seconds. Okay.
Well, who the fuck
what the hell
knows?
did we just say?
Shelley can't post this now, or not that part of it.
Yeah, right. That's good. 22 seconds.
Yeah. If what we were talking about 7 minutes ago is on here, you can't post on YouTube anyways. So.
That's right. Too many curse words.
And opinions.
And opinions that are not publicly shared. All right. This is one of my favorite quotes from the book. This is the thing that one of the things we should put on a little wall plaque.
I like this one. I agree. Okay, weekly quote. The old idea that people are supposed to suffer, are supposed to be miserable at work, is just another story we tell ourselves to avoid change. For those of you who read the book, page 128 is where you will find that quote and more education and theory about how to avoid that
That's in part
social
2.
pitfall.
That's in part 2, which is how people deal with change.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's a long book, so I figure that's right in the middle.
Yeah, it is a long book.
A good book.
Okay.
All right. Oh, this is our weekly writing prompt. This is a little. I had to read this one a couple times, so we might have to say it a couple times for you to hear. I don't think I can post for some reason.
Yeah, something must have changed in Facebook
I don't
land,
know
and
why
now we
I
can't do
post.
the things.
I can't copy and paste in it, and I just lost it. There we are. So Shelley might have to post the little script. So Shelley sent it, which I think this is a great idea because I think it's very specific. It's a way to build an elevator pitch. So you say, I am, say your name, or actually, or your company name. I help fill in the blank. It's like a Mad Lib. Fill in the blank. People do something so they can fill in the blank, accomplish whatever. So how would you put Rose Group in here?
I am Meg, the CEO of Rose Group International. I help teams understand how to better communicate. I help teams better communicate so they can be more efficient, productive, and decrease their turnover.
I was going to say, so they can live better lives.
Yeah, that's not why I do it. That's why you do it, and that's why we're good. That's why we do it together.
That's right. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Good job. Post your elevator pitch in the comments if you can.
Yeah, we can't. So
unclear. All right. So I'll read the member question. First member question. I'm applying for a management position in my nursing unit. Good job. My previous manager stepped down a few weeks ago. The interview process is intense. We have 3 interviews and I have made it to the last round. My last interview is this week and they will pick one of the 3 of us. Okay, so there's 3 people left. The other candidates are super qualified and amazing. How do I give myself an edge? I know in my heart I am the best person for the job. How does someone stand out in an interview process?
well, the first thing I would say is quit even worrying about how amazing and qualified the other people are, because that mentally is what's making you feel like you need to figure out what your edge is. So you should stop thinking about them right now and start thinking about all the great ways that you are going to do the things. So the way to stand out in an interview is figure out what they find attractive. So some interviewees, or for some positions, they're looking for someone who's innovative and creative and flexible and going to have all these big ideas. Probably not for this position. Nursing supervisor, I bet they want somebody who's consistent, reliable, trustworthy, a good communicator.
Who cares for their people.
Good at building relationships, wants to help people understand why we have to follow the rules. Because
knows the rules, loves the rules. Yep.
Yeah. So I would think about who your interviewers are, and what they think will be a valuable, how you will be a valuable asset. What is valuable in the position? And then talk about those things. So a lot of times when I've interviewed lots of people and you get nervous in an interview, especially if you've made it to the end, and you start sort of babbling about the things that in your mind are important, but that's not about you. It's about them. So what is important to the position? What is important to the interviewer?
Can they ask them?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say.
What do you think is the most valuable part, like the most valuable skill for this position?
Yeah. Or you could ask it a different way and say, what would be the most disappointing? For someone in this position, if whoever the new person's going to be, or maybe in the past, what has been the thing that's been the most disappointing of leaders? Because then they say, oh, God, we have somebody that does this X, Y, Z thing. And you don't have to guess at all about what will turn them on. You already know what will turn them off.
Good idea. And then say, I don't do those things. And then...
Yeah. Well, lucky you.
Lucky for you.
Good news, Janice. I'm not that guy.
I don't do those.
Yeah. So those are some things I would do.
I like it. I think also the edge piece is being prepared, being on time.
Yeah.
Like, get the basics right. A lot of times we get in our own head about some super fantastic list of questions or whatever, or learning some new thing, or trying to get the latest words in the, whatever it might be. Maybe you're trying for a slightly different role and you're not sure about some words and you want to impress them. Always better to get the basic stuff right. Look nice, look professional. If you don't know how to do that, ask somebody, because there's a lot of people that just don't have the wardrobe, they don't have the experience, they come to a interview inappropriately dressed because they just don't know.
And you can never dress up too much.
Yeah.
That is an important thing to know.
Yeah, so dress well, dress professionally, be on time, don't over-caffeinate.
Don't do drugs. They'll definitely pick up on that. You're probably drug tested at work.
Right, don't make jokes. Just think about what makes sort of the silly things you do that make you nervous, or that you do when you're nervous, I guess. And just be self-aware, like if Meg said, like if you babble, or if you nervous,
bite your nails, touch your face,
touch things, just try to channel a zen place, feel confident, whether that's you're the body language queen. What's a confidence thing for body language?
Yeah, keep your body open. Do not cover your face. People, when they get nervous or they don't feel good about what they're saying, you see people sitting like this, and then pretty soon you can't understand them. Plus, it's really distracting. So don't cover your face. Sit with your body open. Sometimes a good thing to do. This is a pro tip. When they're speaking, lean forward a little bit when you're listening, because then they feel like you're engaging with them, like what they are saying is important. And so those are some things. Don't do this. Don't cross your arms. I don't really care about the old traditional arm crossing rule, because I'm an arm crosser. It's just how I'm comfortable. But in this instance, keep your body language open, because that says I'm open to opportunities.
Yep. And don't be overconfident. Doesn't sound like you're going to, but there's nothing that turns me off more than arm over the chair, or
little bro look.
Yeah, a little too loose.
Yeah.
Because that feels like you don't care enough and sometimes we do that for self-protection. If I don't care about it, then when they don't give me the job, don't hurt me so much. So just sit, arms on the armrest, if that helps you remember, or notebook in one hand, pen in the other, and then you won't do this, right? Because you got stuff in your hands. So if there's kind of secrets that help you remember to be open to the conversation, I think that'll really help too, to distract you from doing the things.
Wear an outfit that you can wear your favorite shoes with, that you feel like a badass in.
That's a good one.
Male or female, that is not just female advice.
It's not gender specific.
Unless they're dirty old tennis shoes, but Your like
Your
your
best like
your like
work
your shoes that you feel like,
business shoes.
I got it with these shoes on. So wear your best shoes, because even when you're nervous and you're sitting in the whatever waiting room waiting for someone to come get you, you can look down at your shoes and you're like, I love these shoes, and it's a little distracting, which is good, and confidence building because it really makes you feel good. So wear what makes you feel good. Do not stuff yourself into some clothes that are uncomfortable, for God's sakes.
Or from like 5 years ago when it was the last time you wore a skirt.
Go buy something new.
Go to a secondhand store and buy something that fits you.
Yes.
A lot of people buy clothes, they don't wear them, and then they give them to Goodwill or they give them to a consignment shop, and you can get them practically brand new for almost nothing. Talk to friends, borrow something. It doesn't take a lot of money, but you definitely do not want to look like that you haven't interviewed for 5 years, so you're trying to wear the thing you wore 5 years ago.
Yes.
So,
and I would say, since it's a third round interview, you could come with not only questions, but one of the things I would probably say is, I've been in this unit, or I've been in this part of the hospital for a long time, or whatever amount of time it's been, or worked in this industry for a long time. And I've got some really good ideas about how we can be more successful with our patient care. Talk about the things that are important to people in healthcare, patient care numbers. And so who would be my best person? I can imagine that as soon as I sort of get my feet on the ground, that would be one of the first things I would want to think about. Who would be the right person for me to communicate that to? So you can ask kind of paint the picture for them when they hire you, what that's going to look like. And that helps them start to say, oh yeah, when Meg gets the job, then she's going to do this right away, and she would do that right away. That will give you an edge for sure.
that's an advanced interview tip for sure.
I have a few.
That's good. I like it. All right.
All right, I'll read this one.
You'll get this one? Okay.
I'm a practice manager. I'm struggling with finding successful performance improvement plans for doctors, or insert attorneys, or accountants, or whatever, in our practice. Even though I'm in charge of the process, they for sure have issues that impact our business to work on. They don't take me seriously because I'm not a partner or a doctor. How can I work with ownership and the doctors to be successful? Currently, I feel like it's Groundhog Day and we keep reliving the same issues on a daily basis without any forward movement.
Well, lucky for you, this is what we do every day. Ta-da! Well, there's a couple things going on here. First of all, sorry, because you're in a position with responsibility but no authority. And that is a very difficult place to try to affect change from.
With super smart people who know that they're super smart.
And they have the responsibility and the authority, right? They have the authority. So a couple of things come to mind. One, work with someone who has authority to them. There is no way that you can say, now, Dr. Smith, you're supposed to be here 5 minutes before your appointment. Because they're going to be like, well, screw you, I'm going to be here when I want. Because you don't have any authority over them. So you need to work with someone who's in a position of authority to say, this is a policy you must follow, or this is a change we are going to do. This is what's going to happen if we don't pull this off. This is why it's important, all the things. So you need to work with someone in a position of authority in your practice above the docs so they can help you affect change through this process. The second piece is, often we don't do a good job of having an end-to-end understanding with the doctors or lawyers or CPAs or whoever it is about why we're doing the change, what it means, and what problems we're trying to solve. Because I promise you that the doctors, even though they have the reputation for being egocentric wackadoodles, they really probably don't want to make life hard for the nurses. So if you say, hey, if we do it this way, and this way, you're going to get twice as much support from the nursing staff, and you're going to have to do less of the crap that you don't want to do, then they're going to say, oh, well, you should have said that 6 months ago. So a lot, like with everything, we just worked with Deb Schulke on receiver-based communication, and this morning with the team, and she was emphasizing that you have to be able to translate the thing you want them to do, so it's important to them. They're never going to do it if you say, well, we want to do it because it's the thing that we were told we're supposed to do. They're not going to do it. It doesn't mean anything to them. Why should they do it? And so that's a big piece of, those are two things that I feel like are happening for sure.
The other sneaky thing I would do, sort of down the path of receiver-based communication, tell them what they need to hear, speak in words that are important to them. Lawyers, doctors, accountants all have an ethical and, we'll say mostly, legally binding obligation to their client patients. So you can lean on that to say,
That's a good point.
hey, listen, Dr. Smith, I really, just like you, am very interested in making sure that patient care is our number one priority. And because we have an ethical obligation to that as a business, I want to work with you. I want to partner with you to make sure that we're all doing what we can so that that is always our priority. So you can lean on that a little bit, especially in the healthcare field. I know for sure, like traditional medicine, that's for sure. I'm not so much ancillary medicine, dental, vision, but I think there is some sort of obligation to always think about patient care. So you can lean on that a little bit, and say, hey, listen, we're all in this together for that reason. And so we should really think about how we can best serve our client or our patient. And they can't argue with that. And if they do, then you should go to a different business because they don't actually care about the thing that is number one most important in your business.
Yeah, and what I was going to add is even if you don't talk about it in your local practice or in your immediate practice, I guarantee you somebody up the food chain, chief legal officer, chief operations officer, chief financial officer, all care about that. So again, it's like you're connecting to the broader mission, and someone with authority, whether it's a human or the regulation that governs the organization as a whole. So you're reaching out for external authority, which I think is critical to what you're trying to do. But I love the regulation and the legal and ethical aspect, because then you're not saying, doctor, you're screwing this up, you're doing it wrong. You're saying, listen, it's important for us to do this because of this reason. And it's not attacking a person, which is how a lot of people think of it. You're criticizing or restructuring a tool or a process, not saying that people are wrong or doing it wrong. So that is another aspect of why I think that would work.
Yeah. And I would frame it as, doctor, wouldn't you agree that this thing is important? Because if they say no, especially if you get them in front of a group of people,
yeah,
that looks pretty shady.
Positive social pressure is always good. Have them all in a room and have somebody on your side before you go in there.
Yeah. The other thing I would say is have all your doctors take the Helix assessment, because it might just be that they might be well-intentioned and you're well-intentioned, but you're sort of missing each other in the night because, you know, what motivates you to do this well and what motivates them to do things well are maybe two different things. And so you're speaking around the same topic, but you can't get to a consensus about how to do it. Helix would definitely tell you that story. And with our new one-to-one application, then you could, if you had a specific doctor that was like, I just can't connect with this person, to the group, and they're very influential to the rest.
Figure out what the magic piece is on how to communicate with that person. So
yeah,
proactive is so much better than, because if you bang your head against that wall too many times, then people stop listening because they think you can't connect with them. So
the one last thing I would say, I know a significant amount about this challenge because of my mother's background. She has lived this nightmare basically her whole entire career. So the other thing I would say is there's a lot of people in your kind of position at a lot of different other places who maybe have had more or less success with it than you have. So build a network, reach out to people who are in your role in other places, other cities, other states, and say, how have you been successful or not at doing this? Because then it gives you a little bit, kind of some parameters or guidelines to what might help, and then it will generate new ideas. So that would be another thing I would do.
Good idea, because there are places that can do this. We learn from them.
It's true.
All right, now we have some good news. Our personal company good news is that, oh, no, that's not the one, is that we're going to Greece in June. Yay!
Yay!
Because they're opening the border to tourists who have a negative PCR test or are vaccinated. So, oh,
I was like, what the?
ads. I don't know how to stop it. There we go. So they're May 14th. They're starting to slow open certain airports and certain places, and then starting the 14th, they're going to have everything open. So 14th of May, and our plane tickets are for the 30th of May. So, by the skin of our teeth,
Yeah.
we're making it happen.
I have to see if Meg actually gets her passport back from all the name change debacle. So that will be the next big. Now that we know COVID requirements have been lifted or changed,
we're gonna do it. I wouldn't have dropped as much money as I dropped on plane tickets if I didn't think we were gonna do this.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, awesome. All right. So our other good news, not our doing. Well, none of this is our doing. It's just fun for us. You want to talk about this adorable story?
Yes. So Louisiana State University has lots of fraternities and sororities, I'm sure. One in particular is Phi Gamma Delta. And some guys who were at Phi Gamma Delta when they were in the 80s found out that the woman who was the house cook when they lived there was still the house cook. Her name is Jessie Hamilton. And so they were really excited to learn that she's still there?
Yeah, she's still there. And
Yeah.
I think the implication of the story is that she's still working because she has to.
Yes. And so they all got together and decided that they were going to pay off her mortgage. So they made T-shirts and had a whole memorial of the day, like Jessie Hamilton Day, and they paid off $40,000 that she had left on her mortgage. We get to talk about good news every week, but this one is especially beautiful to me because frat guys get such a bad rap because they kind of deserve it most of the time. So it's good to know that there's some
when they're
good
in the
ones.
news, it's usually bad news.
Right.
They do good works all the time, but when we get in the news, it's usually for negative
Yes.
stuff.
So good news about fraternity.
Good job,
dudes.
Phi Gamma Delta.
Yep.
Standing up for the Greek system, doing the good work.
Woo!
So really excited. Congratulations to Jessie, who probably promptly threw her apron on the ground and marched out of that building. I hope she did.
I bet
She's been feeding hungry
she
boys.
looks like the sweetest woman in the
does.
world. She probably loves her job, and now she just doesn't have to do it out of obligation.
I bet she can make some amazing. Like, can you imagine feeding a fraternity? She must be able to cook the spreads, like to feed. I don't even know how many people. 20-some people every single meal. Like,
yeah, frat guys too.
God damn, yeah, lots. She must.
Woof.
I'd love to take some cooking lessons from that lady.
I'd like to just eat her food.
I know, right? I'll just show up
Yeah.
as long as I don't have to do the dishes.
Ooh,
that
yeah.
sounds awesome.
Well, happy birthday, Jessie. What a
Right.
wonderful gift to you.
Yay. Go retire.
Yes.
Go to the coast or down the shore, as they say in Jersey. I know she's in Alabama. No, Louisiana.
Louisiana.
So
I
go
wouldn't
down
go
to the Gulf Coast.
I wouldn't go there. It seems like a scary place to be.
What's that, Louisiana?
The Gulf Coast. The weather, I mean,
Oh,
is
the hurricanes and stuff?
yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
That
Oh.
is not my cup of tea.
It's
is what I'm
early.
saying.
It's early in the season. There's no
Yeah,
hurricanes yet.
but I wouldn't move there. I'm just me. I wouldn't move there. Anyway, for another time. Until the next time, lead powerfully.
Change the world. See you next time.